Alright, so I'm kind of bored, and because the game is under maintenance, and I finished reading all the Final Fantasy XIV embargo stuff. So right now, I just decided to hop onto Altema and see what they have there. And apparently, they actually updated their tier list. Well, the so-called tier list, anyways. Yeah, Altema tier list is not the end-all be-all thing. Like, tier lists are made by persons, people, and people have different opinions. But yeah, I guess it's. I guess I'm just bored, so I'm just gonna record myself just going over it, I suppose. Okay, so right now it's split into different categories now. So the first category is overall. Alright, what do we have here? Ultimisha is the first, not surprised. Actually, sometimes I feel like she's actually falling off a bit. Like, her value is the most obvious. Her value is the highest when it's actually a double boss fight of some sort, because that's when her skill 2 is able to basically do a bunch of damage on a free turn. But the thing with Ultimisha, it's like her free turn is very strong, yes. The thing is that in order to actually keep her buff up, her Maleficium buff up, you cannot just like rely on the free skill that's from the EX cast. Like, you're going to run out eventually. So as the fight drags on, like, if the fight is longer than what her skills allow, then she's probably not a good idea for that. And of course, like, you need a lot of attack buffers, max break buffers and whatnot to actually get the damage out of her, because when the enemy defense get higher, like, she actually has trouble capping her skill 2 if there isn't a good buffer there. Anyways, yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, she has the gravity damage. Yeah, gravity damage is always good. Continuous actions that does not cost the turn count, and the full AoE damage. That's the reasons for her being in the first place. Second place is Rosa. Rosa's pretty straightforward. Her buffs are insane. She has re-raise. She has a little bit of HP recovery and regens. Her batteries are pretty nice, and she provides a pretty consistent max brave overflow buff. No problem there. Emperor is the third place. I suppose. I mean, I only really used Emperor Friends, and I mean, the last few of my videos all featured Emperor Friends quite a bit. So, like, his damage output is certainly up there. I'm not sure how he is as a main character, like as a part of your main roster, because once his skills run out, again, he's not offering much once that happens. So it's probably another case of just, if you can DPS things down, great. If not, probably not. Warrior of Light is in the fourth place. Well, I guess I'm already spoiling the fifth place. Need to be better. Need to be more careful with scrolling. Warrior of Light right now, in terms of chaos, like, his damage is really lacking. Like, his damage output is less than 30k per turn, basically, which is not good at all. And he has basically no shaving ability, which is really bad. Like, it's not uncommon for him to see him hit for once on his EX, even at MLB EX Plus. Yeah, his main damage output is on his battery, of course, and then he prevents enemy brave gain with his shields. Like, he's good for if you don't need a lot of damage and mitigation is required. Like, for example, like the recent Gaul event. Like, if you don't have a tank of some sort, you're probably gonna die if you don't have big damage output to just like kill them before they kill you. But at fourth place, I don't think his damage output warrants at fourth place. I think him and Zack should be swapped because, oh, scrolling, whatever. Maybe I should just adjust the windows. There. Okay. Zack is I think he should be higher than Warrior of Light because his damage output is much higher, like on all of his skills and his EX. And on a single target tank, he can actually, with a good comp, like Rosa plus Zac is able to get like a 9.8k shield and basically just ignore any kind of bravery damage that's aimed at Zac. Of course, Zac can't deal with AoE damage, but his damage output alone, I think, puts him at a more valuable place than Warrior of Light. Next one is Y'shtola. I think Y'shtola should be higher just because of how universal she is. She has invisible gloves, so auras. She has a delay. Delay is like really strong. Her break battery is very good, and she has a full heal. Like, yeah, I don't think too much needs to be said about how good she is. Like, for me personally, she's probably taking the top spot. It's just because like I can use her basically anywhere, even if the stage resists or even absorbs Earth Elemental. She can still be useful, even if it's absorbed, because that means like you can have another character to break for another turn delay. And just having a full heal and on-demand full battery is very powerful. Next, Ignis. Well, Ignis, I mean, I did a full, pretty much 20-minute rambling video about him. Like, he definitely has a good kit. Like, he has a lot of options, but his options are all very clunky. Like, oh sure, the first line it reads like he has a very strong EX with a burst firepower, but then like, his EX takes like forever to recast. He has 100% debuff evasion, which is pretty unique to EX Plus. Like, he's the only one EX Plus character with the debuff evasion. But then that's going at the cost of his offensive auras. Yeah, and his buffs, he has a lot of buffs, self buffs that buff the team, but then like all his free turns actually cut into his buff duration. His bravery and HP recover ability is good. Only 4 uses of skill 1 for healing though. And otherwise you're gonna be in his like I Brave stance for the HP regen, which also comes at the cost of his attack aura power. So yeah, and EX ability can have turn convert effect, and again, I said, it comes up so infrequently that I don't think it should be a plus. Like, I don't think it's significant at all. Alright, next. King. Oh, that's a surprise. Reload, recovers abilities, a lot of bravery hits on his HP attacks, and he can actually have free turns upon breaking. I'm actually quite surprised. I haven't actually invested anything into King yet. I do have his EX Plus on one of my accounts. I suppose like being able to just spam skills 40 times itself is a pretty good plus. Plus, like, I think I've seen videos where you can just abuse his free turn and his additional ability, because like by using reload, it actually restores his additional ability as well. She can buy additional turns for breaks, which gives him another free turn and whatnot. Still, like, I'm quite surprised, like, that's his only utility is just a pure single target ranged damage dealer. I suppose like his skill 2 gives battery, but that's like, you don't use skill 2 for battery, you use skill 2 only for the skill refunds. So yeah, I'm quite surprised it's here, but okay. But it's Altema, so I guess anything goes. Rum? Okay, Rum. Rum is pretty neat. I personally don't quite like the turn convert because how they can mess with the EX recast somewhat, but there's no denying that overall she's pretty powerful. Like, the 80% max brave buff is no joke, and I think she offers a 70% attack aura as well. Yeah. And she can heal, her EX is full AoE, that's pretty nice. And the last one on this list is Scepter. I mean, Scepter is quite powerful. Between the freeze and his damage output is actually quite insane. even with just his Brave Plus and HP Plus alone. Like his skill 2 in a good part can actually do like max damage, 9999 times 9. And his EX is a huge battery and a really fast recast. Of course the delay is very good. So that's the overall rankings. Oh my god, I'm already talking for 10 minutes. This is probably gonna be a bit long. And what next? So this is basically the strongest by role. This is what they are listing here, okay? So the first category is attackers, and Tifa, the first category is the melee attackers. So Tifa, Squall, Sephiroth, Agrias, and 8. I'm not sure if I would put Agrias on there. Agrias is more of a support. Oh, you guys can actually see 8. Let me adjust this a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So I don't actually think Agrias belongs on there. Her skill 2 doesn't really, I mean, it hits decently hard, but it's not a damage dealing skill. Like you're using it for stuns and whatnot, and her EX recast is a bit on the slow side. I see her as more of a utility, like her regen and healing is good, her battery is decent. I mean, Tifa's the top spot, I don't have anything against that, just the on-demand launch is very strong. I'm not sure about Squall being on the second spot. I never MLB'd him. Sephiroth, I've talked a lot about him before, I suppose. Well, I never actually... Did I? Have I? But yeah, the thing I have with Sephiroth, like, wow, he does have good damage. He has a very high M-Brave, and his EX is very good, but he's not really offering anything special. Like, his slow is of course good, but again, not really much special. Like, yeah. I would actually say I'm surprised that Garland isn't on there. Like, in terms of pure damage, Garland is much better than Agrias for sure, and I think he even tops Squall. And Garland can actually turn delay too, so that's another good utility. Surprised 8 is on here. 8 of course has the counter. I mean, 8's counter is very good, but it's very situational. If you can't get a counter, 8 shouldn't probably be here. Okay, next category is ranged physical. So we have Kane Balthier. Come on, work with me. King Balthier, Irvin, Vincent, and Barrett. So I guess they're going for the pure attack types. Okay. King we already said before. Yeah, I think King takes the top spot. There's no problem with that. Balthier, I think it's a little bit tied because Balthier actually his EX is very fast, while recasting 1 skill and 1 HP++, and the EX does full AoE damage. And he has quite a good amount of skill uses too. I think it's 8+8, though it's nothing against like King's 40 skill use, but he can hold his own pretty well, considering that his EX recast decently fast. And he has a really good utility in buff stealing, and of course his EX actually comes with a Max Brave debuff aura, I think. I think the next 3 spots are more like fillers. I don't think they're pure attackers. Irvin, he's not that good. Like, he has a bit of a support, 40% attack and Brave aura. His EX is okay, I suppose. He heals a bit for some reason now. But his own damage output, even with the ranged resist down, is not that great. Vincent can be good if his EX is faster, but his EX is much too slow for someone with just 7 and 7 skill uses. And the fact that his Bravery ++ aren't very strong either doesn't help. He has a lot of debuffs. I think he's probably gonna be nominated there. I think Barrett can actually overtake Vincent, and maybe even Barrett can overtake Irvin in terms of damage output, and he has much better party utility too. Like, yeah. All right. Next up is Magic Attacker. I don't think it's any surprise that Ultimicia's the top. Emperor's the second place. I think it depends. Like those two, there's no debate there really. They can be interchangeable probably. Like depends on the number of targets. On the multi-target, Emperor wins for sure because he can get his traps on everyone. Surprised the Steven is that high. I mean, his EX is very strong, yes, but his EX is also kind of slow. I think I'll actually rate Ace higher than Sabin because Ace is much more flexible. His EX recasts faster, and he has much better longevity on his HP++. Though the reason they gave here is that Sabin can actually ignore defense and have the enchant, which ignores resistance as well. And he actually has a party delay, which is useful, but managing his stacks can be a little bit more clunky than compared to using Ace, but Ace has a little bit of random stuff going on, so yeah. Terra's at the 5th spot. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not too impressed by her EX+. Her base kit is still kind of weak. I think Kuja, Renoa, for some reason people aren't really that impressed by Renoa, much to my surprise. Renoa has very good consistent damage, and Kuja has very good AoE too. I'm not sure if Terra wants the spots here. And speaking of something like don't mention Agrias here. Okay, I would even put Lee's better than Agrias in terms of just pure damage output actually. So, okay, let's keep going. Next category is mixed type, so characters with different attack types. So we have Scepter, Gobez, Locke, okay. Scepter, Gobez, Locke, Cloud, and Firion. I'm not sure if I would put Firion as a pure attacker. Like, his main damage actually comes from his EX, not his base skills. His base skills are more like fillers, I feel. Cloud's there, okay. I guess like skill 2 and EX is ranged. I'm surprised Locke is here. I mean, Locke's definitely good damage, but sometimes I feel like he's a bit limited by his hit count. Gobez there, there's no arguments there. Gobez pretty nice. His burst damage is very high, and once he actually gets the dark resist down, he hits really hard. Scepter, yeah, his damage output is really surprising. But I already talked about him earlier, so okay. Mixed type attacker though, that's an interesting category to put. Okay. What's here? Oh, just elementals. There's really nothing much about that, so I'm just gonna skip it. Next is attack buffers. Okay. Rose's top. There's no competition there. I mean, 85% attack, 75% eye brave, and 60% M brave. There's no competition there, and she also gives max brave overflow. Sarah here is under the assumption that you have perfect artifacts, which is not really, how do I say it, not really practical to assume that everyone's gonna have perfect artifacts, but then again, Altema isn't really the most practical information site either. Ignis, okay, Ignis, alright, he has 60% attack, 40% max brave, and 20% overflow, yes, but that's a trade-off that you have to make between either you go for the attack buff stance or you go for the eye brave and debuff evasion stance. And I don't think he actually warrants this attack buffer if just going by this alone, because like if you want max brave overflow attack and embrave, I'm pretty sure that Bart's has more consistent aura than this, because Bart's doesn't need to switch around, and Bart's actually has a pretty good attack. Like Bart's has pretty consistent attack and shaving himself. And Bart's also offers a bit of Eye Brave as well, because like his simple mastery is 25% all stat. Okay. Charlotta. Okay, I think they meant his offensive buff, not necessarily attack buff, because Charlotta actually doesn't have any, well, 10% attack aura. Let's just say that she doesn't have any, but her battery and the EX 20% HP damage buff is definitely good. Though recently, it depends on the fight, I guess. First place we got Eiko. Eiko's nice, I suppose. Yeah, Eiko's pretty nice. If not for the fact that she actually takes up quite a bit of buff slots. Like, okay, so if Eiko's on there, why is Ignis here? Kichi has a lot of buffs, 60% max brave, 50% attack in total, and Eye Brave regen. I guess my main problem is just Ignis being there. I think Kichi warrants a place around here too. Kichi, I think, is around the same place as Eiko. In exchange for, like, he has better Embrave. I think his battery is better. Yeah, I think Catchy has better battery than Eiko. Okay, but then I guess this offensive buffer. Yeah, you see, sometimes Altema is not the most agreeable thing to me. Anyways, defensive buffer. Oh, Rosa's first again. Are they basing defensive buffer on Eye Brave buffs? Is that what they're doing? Because I don't think Rosa's defensively any means, because like she can barely work as a sole healer in some more HP damage heavy fights, because as soon as the team takes HP damage, they lose Rosa's buffs, which means it's not that great. Ignis. Okay, Ignis belongs here, okay, but if you're gonna put Ignis here, you shouldn't put Ignis up there with this offensive buff, because like it's a trade-off. You either get offensive buffs or you get defensive buffs. In terms of defensive, okay, Ignis is pretty good. The debuff evasion, he has only one in EX plus range that has it. And he has a good HP regen, and he has on-demand heal. So that's okay, I'm fine with him being here for his kit. Yuna, I suppose. Okay. Lana requires some heavy carrying to do. You can actually you can get some results pairing Rosa and Lana together. Like if you need debuff evasion and you don't have Ignis, Lana is a decent second choice. Or we can go with Afmal really. Afmal actually has a more comprehensive aura than Lana. But Afmal actually takes up a lot more buff slots too, so it's a trade-off, I guess. I would say Lana and Afmal are in the same range of things. And finally in this category is Kimari with the Mighty Guard, which is 20% damage down, and he has the Blind, which mitigates damage, I suppose. Okay, what is this? Debuffer. Okay. Sarah, Vanille, Lulisette, Ferris, and Vincent. Okay, I suppose. They list the amount of debuffs here. I actually don't think Sarah's the best debuffer. Like, she's the best poison user, yes. Her poison is very good. Like, up to 160% of their Eye Brave is very good. In terms of pure debuffs alone, I think it's a tie between either Ferris or Vanille. That's my personal opinion. But the two of them actually overlaps their niche quite a bit, but they're both dispellers and debuffers. I don't really agree with Lilith being higher than Ferris because her debuff potencies aren't that good. And Vincent's last one here, he has a lot of debuffs, but the thing is, like, with only 6 debuff slots, like, he's already taking up 5. And his Ungrave and Attack Down are very short duration, which might not be as useful. I mean, they are useful, but they wear out so quickly, and Vincent does not have enough skill uses to keep up for the most part. Unless, like, you go with a carrying team, which Vincent's only purpose is to debuff on demand, which then okay, but like if you're bringing him to just maintain his debuffs 100%, you're sacrificing a lot of damage. And if you're bringing him for damage, his debuff uptime is not going to be that great. So it's a toss-up. Vincent really needs more attack power, I feel. Faster EX. Maybe EX extends his debuffs. Okay, healer. Y'shtola, no arguments there. Ram, no arguments there. Echo, it's fine. Ignis, okay. Gathering is only 4 uses, but he gets HP regen from his Brave stance. Again, it's a trade-off. Like, you're either going to use him as a more healer / defensive support, or you're going to use him as a more offensive support. I think his value is mainly as a defensive support here, like in my opinion, because like they're much better offensive supports than him. So yeah, Rosa, I suppose Rosa can heal. She's not suitable enough for as a pure healer. I would actually say Agrias has better healing than Rosa. I think her party region is actually stronger, and her heal from skill 1's more on demand. Okay, but I guess Rosa has the re-raise effect that will kill your score. Okay, next one is what? Control? Okay, control. So, okay, Agrias. Oh, so that's what they mean by control. Agri has full AoE stun and silence. I really like for her silence to be longer though, or on a shorter cooldown on her EX. I mean, shorter recast. I've been reading too much Final Fantasy XIV and stuff. Rem has pretty good control with her turn convert. Ignis. His EX does not recast fast enough for the turn manipulation to be anywhere near reliable. Setzer, freeze, and turn delay, and Yuffie with a starter freeze, sort of buff prevention and buff steal and whatnot. That's pretty good, yeah. I'm happy to see Yuffie somewhere. Yuffie is actually pretty good for her utility. Next up is Buff Dispel. Oh my god, I'm talking for 27 minutes. I never talked that long in real life. I need the sip of water. Okay. Buff Dispel, let's see. Of course, Buff Steal. You can only steal 3 buffs at once though. Ferris and Vanille. Okay, Ferris has I think 7 uses or 8. I think 7 uses of full dispel because like Cannon Fire only has 8 uses and only the Master of Cannon Fire can dispel, and while Vanille only has 6 uses. Vanille's is like dispel 6 buffs and Ferris is dispel all buffs, but then like enemies only have 6 buffs anyways, so yeah. Okay, Cloud has the World of Illusions weapon, can dispel upon critical. Sid. I don't recall any time that he was used. I would think that Locke is more reliable. Locke can dispel 1 buff on his additional ability. Like you can actually use Locke in Chaos. I don't think you can use Sid in Chaos. Maybe, but I don't have Sid, so I don't know. It's kind of surprising seeing him up there. Okay. Lastly, is it the last part? It's brief battery. Okay, there's still no arguments there. Ignis, I suppose. Okay, fine. I give him that. Like, from the people that use them, they're saying like, his battery that's tied to his skills are good, but you're mostly using his skills for the buff upkeep, so you aren't really using his skills as a battery. And for his normal bravery and HP attacks to actually give battery, to give meaningful battery, you need to be in the skill, the I brave stance, which means you're sacrificing a lot of attack power there. Anyways, next up is Sarah. I don't think Sarah actually has a lot of batteries. Her main battery is her skill 2. Skill 1 doesn't actually give that much because it's only an attack refund. I suppose her HP plus is also a nice battery with a attack with a what's it called, damage refund. Yeah. Rosa and Yuna. I mean, if we're just talking about pure batteries, I think why isn't Charlotte here? Charlotte's battery is good. If you have the right team for it, Cryo has a really good battery too on her EX and skill 1. Mainly her EX if you can actually do damage with it somehow. Yuna I never used. The thing with Yuna is that she suffers from the same problem as Sarah, like she depends on her perfect new artifacts, which is not practical. Rosa's batteries, they are nice, I suppose. Yeah. Not much to say here, I suppose. The last one's tank. Okay, Warrior of Light. Again. Okay, let me just show the full thing here. Warrior of Light, Zac, Bash, and Salas, and Leon, or Leonhard. Okay, the thing with Warrior of Light is that his damage stop is very low. I mentioned that before already. Okay, so what justification do they have here? Party Shield, okay. I mean, like, yes, he is the only one, minus Leonhard, that can actually deal with AoE damage. But he actually suffers. He's actually not that great when the enemy has a strong multi-hit attack. So, like, when I tried using him for the first few times in God Chaos, his shield actually gets broken quite frequently. Even with Rosa buffing the shield, because like even if he can get to like say 27k shield, enemies can do like 999 times 2 quite frequently, so that his shield just breaks. Zac, I think I'm a little bit biased. Zac is my favorite character, so I want to say he's the best tank, but of course he has limitations, like he cannot deal with AoE situations. But I'm pretty sure his damage, I can pretty confidently say his damage is top-notch among the current tanks we have. Bosch and Salas, I think these two are pretty much interchangeable in terms of placement. Bosch can deal with AoE HP attack, and his own damage output is pretty decent. But he cannot deal with any AoE bravery attacks. Salas is entirely restricted to magic. She can actually deal with AoE magic in some regards because like her skill 2 actually gives a party magic resist. Well, not resist, it reduces damage taken via magical damage by 60%, I believe. So that's a pretty good mitigation. Sometimes it's even better than shielding because it's more consistent. You don't have to worry about the shield breaking. Because Celeste actually have enough skill uses on her skill 2 to maintain her buff throughout the entire fight. So that's pretty good. And her damage output is pretty good too, like her EX being able to recast every other skill with a ton of bravery refunds too. So like she basically caps bravery return especially if she's actually tanking magical stuff, she actually gains bravery from attacks. So her damage output, I think, is just below Zach's. Yeah, and Leon, he is actually pretty niche in the way that he makes the party absorb dark and non-elemental attacks. The thing is that he is not EX plus, so his stats are pretty low to the point that it's not quite feasible to bring him into chaos. I did use him in FEOD 5, but that was really close and I took a lot of resets. Yeah, is that all? Yeah, okay, that's all. Okay, so the last part, oh my god, this is already going on for 34 minutes, 35 minutes. Okay, they're talking about the criteria for their rankings. Okay, attacker, it's, well, attack, and they also take into account of how many ability uses and how fast their EX recast and how much damage they can dish out in one turn. I mean, that's pretty standard. Attack buffer, well, it's mainly how much attack passive they give, like including active and passive buffs. And when they are the same number of buffs, the duration, I mean, when the buff potency are the same, they rank it based on duration. Okay. And it's mainly attack and max brave that they're concerned about. Defensive buffs. So the number of buffs, and they are mainly talking about, they're mainly looking at defense buff or eye brave buffs. Okay, so because eye brave buffs some shields, is, I mean, it only really buffs Zac and Warrior of Light's shield, and Kimura is the only one with HP damage reduction. Okay, speaking of HP damage reduction, why isn't Porum in any of that? Like, okay, Porum's a pretty good attack buffer, Porum's a pretty good battery, Porum's a really good healer, and Porum can reduce HP damage taken, so why isn't she up there? Yeah, Altema, why? Not this. Okay, debuff, let me just scroll. The number of debuffs with their potency and duration and range, I suppose. Healer is pretty self-explanatory. Control, so stun, confuse, silence, etc, and turn delay, turn convert. Yeah, so it's a pretty catch-22, I suppose. Not catch-22, it's just basically a pretty blanket rule. I mean, you don't really always need it, but having them helps, type of deal. Love Dispel, pretty self-explanatory. Bravery, Battery, explanatory. And Tank. So their target, how do I translate this? So based on the target log, the damage reduction, and what type of attack they deal with. Actually, with Edge coming up in Patagonia, I think he's probably gonna earn a spot up there too. With his skill 2, he becomes a evasion tank, which is pretty nice. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it, and they're just saying that everything here is just based upon the Awakening level 70 with all weapons and passives, and with all the EX plus MLB, with a pretty good selection of artifacts and full summon board. So yeah, that's a given pretty much. You're not gonna test someone. You're not gonna rank someone that's not fully built, I should say. Okay, I've been talking for nearly 39 minutes. So overall thoughts. Surprisingly, it's actually pretty accurate to an extent. Like, of course, there are some characters that I think that shouldn't be here or that should be here but isn't. Like, for example, Porum should probably be here. Like, she heals and whatnot. I already said about her. I don't think Ignis should be this high in this many categories because like what he offers is a trade-off between many stances, and his own kit is very clunky to use. In terms of attackers, I don't think Terra is that good. I think either Renoa or Kuja can replace her. And I'm not really so sure about Saban being here. His damage is nice, but as I mentioned before, as an attacker, you can't just have damage. Like, you need something else to actually help clear the fight. In terms of single target melee attacker, I think actually, why isn't 7 here? I mean, 7 of course has her troubles, but like, her damage output is very consistent, and she actually offers a unique 50% defense debuff. So that's actually pretty good. And in terms of mixed type attackers, like, I can feel like several should be here. Like, Ferris has a decent amount of damage with her, like her EX and whatnot. And I feel maybe there should be another category, just like they have. I think I like how they differentiate between like offensive buffers and defensive buffers. But sometimes you actually have more like just general utility slash buffer. Like, for example, here Vanille here is listed as debuffer, but actually she has a pretty good amount of well, not a pretty good amount. She has an average amount of what's it called? Attacking and break aura. Same deal with Lucette. Like, to just say they are debuffers are a little bit of disservice to their kits. And actually, Vanille can actually do pretty good damage too. And she has a very good battery as well, so. And some of them are just filling the list because, like, there really isn't a lot of dedicated range attackers, range physical attackers. Like, Irvin is kind of pushing the limit. And I definitely wouldn't say Barrett and Vincent and, like, Irvin are dedicated attackers. Like, in terms of just pure range damage, Setzer actually beats them. What else? That's probably it. I'm expecting Penelo to make the list among the buffers somewhere. It's gonna be funny where she stands because she has attack, max brave, and she has regen as well. It's gonna be interesting to see how her rework comes out. Yeah. Oh my god. Did I really just talk about things for 42 minutes? I should stop. Nobody's actually gonna listen to me for this long anyways.